Good morning, Chicago and the rest of the world. Welcome to the Money Sex Gen X podcast. I am your host with the most, the man with the plan, the Scotty Pimpin' from Podcast Pimpin', Mr. Eric McRoy. As I say every week, I am never alone. I am joined by the G of Genius Lab, music mogul in the making,
Stu Lodge,
the Rashid Wallace, podcast knowledge. My homie, my brother, our co-host, Big Stu.
What's cracking, lady? E-Money? What's happening, man?
What's up, brother? Trying to get that energy up on a Monday morning. How you doing? How was your weekend?
Good, man. I'm all about it, man. I'm glad to be here, to say the least. So we're going to make the most out of it, man.
No doubt.
We're going to make the most.
All right. So glad you're feeling good. So, hey, if you're out there, this is MSG Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All you got to do is type in Money Sex Gen X. Big Stu, we are now streaming in 50 countries.
Oh, my God. We went up?
412 cities globally.
Wow.
You can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, and all the major streaming platforms. If you're streaming on Apple Podcasts, go on right now and leave us a review.
Wow.
We would love that.
And, hey, shout out to everybody on LinkedIn. Welcome, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, we're doing our first broadcast on LinkedIn Live. That's going to be interesting. If you out there, go ahead and drop some comments. Get in the conversation. It's going to be a good one. And we're happy to be there. Happy to be on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, man. Let's go, man.
So, look, today we got, this is episode number 41. Are you a sellout? Are you a sellout? That was a big word when I was growing up in the 90s. I remember people talking a lot about people selling out. It was in the music. It was in the lingo. It was a big part of our culture, just talking about it. Today, we're going to have a full-blown conversation about that. But we got a guest coming on today, brother Big Mel. And Stu, could you introduce Big Mel to the audience?
Absolutely, man. You know, he sent me his a little write-up. It was so late before I got it, Big Mel, man. It was late. But I know the big homie, man. This is a black entrepreneur.
All right.
An artist. He is are you the co-owner or founder of Strange Fruit?
Partner.
He's a partial owner of Strange Fruit. He's in the medical marijuana business, the cannabis industry, and he's a big gentle giant, and he is one of the co-hosts of the podcast, the 606 whatever 606. Podcast.
Okay. Right.
So Big Mel is in the building, and he's a part of the crew, the Circle G. E-Money, you heard of this rapper artist named Gino Pacino?
Yes, sir.
They in the same crew, dog. They in the same crew, man.
Word. Okay. All right.
And we featured some of his music on here before. Black Entrepreneur. We played it on here before.
I remember that.
Love, man. Gratitude.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show, Big Mel. I think Big Mel still got
Appreciate you, black men. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
No doubt. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast, 406 whatever?
606 whatever.
Oh, my bad. 606 whatever. Can you tell
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We started we just started an adventure. We like to talk a lot, man. And a lot of our conversations are, culturally relevant, Chicagoland relevant, politics, sports, anything you could think of. We just like to dialogue, have healthy dialogue on it. And, just having that dialogue regularly, it was to my best interest that I told my fellas, like, hey, man, we got to start recording this stuff. And, long story short, that's what we started doing. So we named the podcast the 606 whatever podcast, obviously, because any zip code that starts with 606, it's the Chicagoland, and that's what we're based out of. So we talk on events and agendas around the world, but try to feed it to you from a Chicago perspective. And we've been we've been running consistently now a little bit over a year. We've had we've had dialogue and episodes though for about a good 4 years now. So we're on a 4-year run with this, and I love it. This is very, I'm gonna steal your word, bro. It's very therapeutic for me. I wouldn't have it any other way than podcasting with the counterparts that I podcast with. And you know, we look to have a good time, but bring relevancy to the culture.
No doubt. Yeah, and I did get a chance to check out an episode. I was thoroughly entertained. I had my man Big Stu on there, so that was dope. And yo, shout out to being doing your show for 4 years. 4 years is a long time in the podcast game. So shout out on that. Now, Big
man.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No. Go ahead, brother. It's on you.
I think we both still got a slight delay, but we're gonna work through it. All right. So, Big Mel, tell me, are you a Gen Xer or are you a millennial?
So this is what's this is where like those titles get a little bit confusing for me. So the Gen Xers are is that the generation that supersedes my time, and I'm coming into the millennials. I'm 43 years old. The Gen Xers, I really, I really don't know how to define myself. Maybe I'm outside the box of all that stuff, man. to keep it a buck with you, but I don't, sometimes through my dialogue and how I interact with people, maybe that label is made to be given to me instead of from me.
So, but see, so no. So in one respect, it is a label because this is how generations are defined.
Facts. Yeah.
So just by that, I think in one respect, by which generation are you associated or affiliated with? I doubt that you're a baby boomer. Yeah, after the boomers, it was us, the Gen Xers. Well, I am a proud Gen Xer, and then after them is the millennials, then the zennials. You know what I mean?
Well, so definitely not a zennial. I'm definitely not a zennial. I think I'm in the middle. I think I'm right there with the Gen Xers and the millennials. I take from both of them. I would assume, my mother's generation are like the baby boomers.
You're a Gen Xer, bro.
Okay. All right, speak to me, Stu. I told you to holler at me about it. Speak to me about it. Look, Stu, he trying to push it into me like, go ahead and say what you
absolutely, 100%. Look, the millennials would have been you were too old to be one of my students.
Okay.
My oldest students would have been like 34, 35 by now.
All right, so I'm about 8 years past that.
So you one of me, yeah.
All right, okay. That's an honor. I'm
no doubt. All right, so everybody
I'm a Gen Xer, baby.
He's on the younger end of it, E-Money. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
But he's definitely one of us, bro.
Still Gen X. All right, cool. So we're going to have a Gen X black male conversation today, and we're going to be talking about somebody that as of Generation X that we all remember, we hear about him recently, and it's the reason why we did this episode, Are You a Sellout? It's Deion Primetime Sanders. I know you all remember Deion. Even before the Jackson State situation, what are you all's memories of Primetime?
Man, mine is playing two sports. You know what I mean? Like that was like the home run and the touchdown in the same week. Like what?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Who does this? Only other person was Bo Jackson.
Bo Jack, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I called him. I took on. I know he doesn't like it. The name Neon Deion. I remember when it was Neon. He hates that. It's prime time.
Yeah. Oh, he don't like the Neon Deion?
Oh no. He's no. So that's what I remember. Big Mel, what about you?
So with Deion, the one thing that sticks out is obviously the two sport thing. That was like unheard of when I was coming up, and I used to see him and Bo Jackson do it, and they wasn't just doing it, Stu. They was doing it at a high level on both sides of it. But the main thing I remember about Deion Sanders is just how, for the culture, he really was. How he infused a lot of like the hip hop culture into sports, because people wasn't doing that back then. It's more evident now, but that's because Deion was one of the forefathers of that. You know, the flashiness, the 4-5 chains, the making he had a song out. You know what I mean? Bringing MC Hammer to the games. You know what I mean? Yep. So he kind of set that standard for hip hop, and he infused hip hop in football, and that's what I remember. Like he was the culture, and that's why I love that brother to this day. And ain't nobody out talking that man. Well, nobody gonna out talk Deion.
Well, you know what else? You know what else about Deion that I like? With all of his flashiness, I never associated cockiness with him. He was always humble to me. Like he had every right to be prime, you know, in the fur coats and the chains, because who was better? Yeah. Who was better at his position at the time?
They would literally design plays away from him. Deion would be bored in the game a lot of times because he would get no action, because they would design everything to the opposite side. So yeah, he's the man, bro. Best corner in the game ever, in my opinion. So we could talk about it.
What about you, E-Money? What's your thoughts, memories of Prime?
Yeah, man, that video must be the money. Every time I hear his name, that goes through my head for some reason. But I just thought he was a fly dude. You know what I mean? Right. He wasn't no clown or nothing like that. He was very good on the field, and yeah, he was strong. He was a strong black man, and I always respected him. And I didn't really know what was going on with him until he kind of resurfaced at Jackson State. I don't know if you all were following him prior to that, but I was glad to see him when he came back.
Well, I've watched in the past. I had seen some of him on reality TV. He got a reality TV show.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He did.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that because his the one, I didn't see a lot of episodes, but he had this one episode. His closet was the size of most of our cribs. I'm like, and it was
for you, baby.
I'm like,
that's Deion.
So he had I think he has a school. He was still doing football programs, traveling football teams. Okay. I can't remember. He's had a couple of wives, I think, beautiful ladies, But so I knew he was doing his still. I knew he was still doing football.
He was working. He was also a sports analyst on NFL Network for a minute.
Oh, okay.
So he planted his feet there too, and he was one of the forefathers of the players actually kind of getting into that realm of like commentary and being. He was there, I believe, like kind of right when NFL Network just kind of launched. So that's why I really started seeing Deion at a bird's eye view. I was watching him every week.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, so I feel like whatever we say during this episode is going to be definitely respectful towards this man. It sounds like somebody we all respected and continue to respect. But recently he has come up in this conversation about possibly, and I say this respectfully, possibly being a sellout. And we're going to get into this. What does a sellout mean? What does that word mean, Big Stu? Now I'm gonna give you all my definition, and then I want to hear yours. Sellout, from what I could gather in the technical sense, is supposed to mean somebody that betrays a cause for personal advancement, or a person that is doing something selfishly, Big Mel, for money without considering principles or damages to others. That's the textbook definition. But I'd love to know, what is you all's definition of a sellout?
Stu, you want me to go, Stu?
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to the guest.
I'll take it. So those definitions are very established, very accurate. But let's bring it to our level culturally. What is a sellout? Sellout is a brother that, or I'm sorry, an individual that would either one throw the culture under the bus for self-advancement, somebody that doesn't consider the culture or doesn't consider the damage he's doing to the culture in order to gain more self-inflicted wealth or health, or somebody that's just doing damage to the culture and running and moving in his own realm with horse blinders on, not even considering us. So in my opinion, that's what a sellout is.
I like that. Doing damage to the culture. Doing damage to the culture. I like that. That makes sense to me. Stu, what's your definition, brother?
A sellout to me is someone who's tries to assimilate to European culture more so than that. I've only seen a sellout. I've only used the term sellout when talking about black folks. And so when it's a African-American black individual who is trying to abandon their blackness to be more accepted by white culture, that's a sellout.
Be accepted by white culture.
More accepted, by white, or we'll do anything to abandon, again, going back to that term, kind of abandon their culture, but more so to be accepted by another culture.
To be accepted by another culture. All right.
What's your definition of a sellout, E-Money?
Oh man, I mean, we used to say like a sucker type dude, like a person that they're just a sucker. Like you can't really trust them any further than you can see them. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even have to be on a big cultural level, which I definitely respect that, but just on a one-on-one. If I'm talking to Big Stu and then I walk away and then I say something totally opposite to what I said to Big Stu, that's a sucker. That's a sellout to me, right? Because I'm selling you out based on how I presented myself to you initially. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a sellout to me, just a person that you cannot trust. And I believe that there are sellouts. I know as black men, we talk about it being other black men, but when I hear sellout, I think about other cultures. I don't always just think about us, because I don't like to always put us in a negative light. You know what I mean? I feel like character types are universal, right? So if a black man can be a sellout, so can somebody else from another culture. That's how I see it. But I like all of them. Facts. Yeah, no doubt. So
yeah, that's real interesting. Hey, Big Mel, E-Money is from the East Coast, man. He's from the DMV, man. So
okay,
he's been here long enough to be Chicago.
Yeah,
we went on ahead and transitioned him.
He was born in Chicago, as he just said, but he was raised on the East Coast. Is that right? Like high school, all that on the East Coast?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those are informative years.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yep. But definitely born in Cook County Hospital and all of that. So yeah, definitely represent the DMV.
So he got they got a different, slightly different, perspective in the East Coast. Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's needed and warranted. So that's dope. Yeah, I'm with that. That's dope, man.
And I appreciate hearing you all's perspective on that. Because I always think about younger people when we're doing this show, right? So a lot of times we have these conversations and we take them for granted. But we got millennials, zennials, all these people watching. We want them to understand this concept so that they can become stronger men or a stronger person and not go down this road of becoming a sellout. So I like the fact that Big Mel had a definition, Big Stu has a definition, and then I have mine. And the universal theme here is a person that is really thinking about themselves, right? Now, Big Mel, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about yours. You said a person that's basically doing something to harm the culture. Can you tell me a little bit more what that looks like for these younger people out here?
Yeah, so it could be something as smooth. We could take and I know we're not gonna go here just yet, but just take this job opportunity thing just to kind of bunch that into scenario that can damage the culture. If you're doing something that is help building and uplifting, and if you have the opportunity to do something that helps build and uplifts the culture, the youth, the zennials, millennials, what have you, and they are of the African American culture, and because let's just be honest, we're in so many words the disenfranchised of this country. If you're doing something that if you accept a role or a position, and that scenario is a role and position that you're being asked certain things to do to damage your culture, to impede growth of your culture, to knock people of your culture down off any type of pedestal they on, but you accept this role because it's beneficial to you and your financial gain, and you take these benefits and you still move forward. Some people take these benefits and say, okay, I'm playing a game now. I know I have to step my foot into this realm so when I reach back, it'll be that much more dominant to reach back because I've stepped in a certain realm and I've advanced myself. But people that just continue to go that opposite way, E-Money, and look back and basically shit on the culture, those are sellouts to me. Somebody that's just self-gain, and usually sellouts come from job opportunities or advancement, self-advancement. Sometimes people flat out specifically ask you to do certain things to damage your own culture for self-gain. And if you take that, you a sellout. Well, E-Money, you a sucker, like you said.
No doubt. I agree 1,000%. 1,000%. So that's a great example. Yeah. If you're not familiar with this term or what a sellout is. Now, Big Stu, what's the opposite of a sellout? What's the opposite of a sellout?
Put me on, man. I don't know.
You know, brother. Come on now. What's the
Stu is the opposite of a sellout.
What's that, big man?
Big Stu is the opposite of a sellout.
Let us know.
One who's down for their people, one who's loyal.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Salute, brother.
No doubt.
Salute. All of y'all that are not anti-sellouts. Y'all not sellouts.
Facts.
E-Money, are you a sellout?
Brother, you already know the answer.
Oh, okay, how about it?
He like, you know, not even ask me.
All right, I know. Nah, okay.
Yeah, that's a great point, though. I mean, Big Stu, you definitely, from what I've seen of you and from what people say of you, you're definitely the opposite of a sellout. And I wanted to bring that up because people need to see the other side of that. It's a man who takes care of his family. He holds his word. If he tells you he's going to do something, he does it. But more importantly, Big Stu is an entrepreneur. He's in schools and doing all these things. But the common thread is everything that Big Stu does is for the culture. Ooh. And not just I'm on Instagram talking about for the culture, things that you don't even get a chance to see. That's just what he does when the cameras are off.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's the opposite of the sellout, right? And so that's what I strive. That's what I aspire to as well, right? Who am I when the camera's off? Who am I when nobody's looking? Big Mel, am I a person that's uplifting the culture? Or as you said so eloquently, am I somebody that's taken away from the culture? Am I somebody that can be talked into betraying his own people? Am I somebody that's only worried about money? And Stu will tell you, I love getting money, but I'm not going to get the money in a way that's going to betray my people or anybody that I care about.
That's fact. That's fact. Hey, thank you for those accolades, man. That's I appreciate that. I wasn't expecting to be the example of that. That's dope. I want to back up. I want to back up before we move forward, because Big Mel, you talked about the job advancement, and the one thing, the one example of a sellout that comes to my mind that we're not scheduled to talk about today, but I'm gonna bring it up now is like radio station music directors. Particularly of black radio. Like I'm wondering why we don't have more R&B, dope R&B on our music and on our radio stations. and why every time I turn on the radio, it's, you know, kill, F,
Drill
let's smoke,
music.
let's drink, let's get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like there are so many R&B crooners that are singing love songs, man, like good uplifting music that's not getting played. Are those radio programmers with, I mean, I think I got my answer. And some of those might be people that we know. Some of those might be people close to us, man. I'm thinking of a couple. I'm here for the smoke. I'm taking the smoke. Are they sellouts, man? Because they, you know, they line in their pockets because, you know, the big people who are running the labels are saying play this.
Yeah.
And they do have the power to push back, but they don't. Will you consider some of those folks sellouts as well?
So that's a good question. There's so many different entities of entrepreneurship these days. One thing that you mentioned when we talk about radio is the platform of radio has changed immensely over the last 10, 15 years, right? Because now you don't need that GCI or 92.3 or these big title radio stations. Now, obviously, if you want to be syndicated and things like that, that's one thing. But there's so many like internet radio stations and different local stations that don't need those syndicated stations to vouch for them, because it's just like what we're doing as far as podcasting now. With respect to the DJs, the VJs that are working for those syndicated radio stations, it's a hard position that they're in because they don't own the radio stations. And if they're getting pushback on playing the Commons, the Most Defs, the Talib Kweli's, because I heard you mention R&B, but there are several conscious rap artists too that just won't get airplay because they're not radio friendly. And when I say radio friendly, they're not talking about the stuff that damages the culture regularly. Ooh. Right? Ooh. So to call those people sellouts, it's very difficult because there's a systemic value in this country that won't allow those people to move like how they want to because they don't own those scenarios. So it's either you quit and start your own thing up, but even us as a people would rather hear those different songs as opposed to the conscious rap or the R&B. I think that's a systemic issue within us that we need to address because it's one of those unconscious movements that we have that's damaging us and we don't even realize it. So it's tough to say somebody that's playing that is selling out. I think there's a different terminology we could use.
Okay.
For them instead of saying they selling out, because we all are engulfed in that, doing damage to the airways because it's what we want to hear as well.
All right, well maybe that's another topic for another day, but I thank you for that.
But it's wrong though, for sure it's wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, E-Money, I'm turning it back over to you, brother.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, man. We're getting into all facets. So we're going to get into Mr. Deion Sanders here. And if I mess up any of these facts, the football people, please correct me out here. But I want to give a little bit more background about him. So Deion Sanders was drafted out of Florida State in '89, 14 seasons in the NFL. As Big Mel pointed out, he was a cornerback. Famous. Just a famous dude. Everybody knew who he is. He still do. Stu pointed out that he had a reality show, several wives, fly dude. Been in the media, continuing with football and just being out there. But what he came into recently celebrity for was going to an HBCU, which is Jackson State, in 2020. He came to Jackson State and brought a lot of energy to HBCUs, specifically football. The donors went up, the attention went up, the endowments went up, everything went up, and they started getting some really high-level recruits at this school. And as he was there, Big Mel, he was promoting the virtues of HBCUs and telling people, hey, we need to start paying more attention to HBCUs, and brought a lot to the table. Now, recently, Stu, he has been offered a $5 million contract to go coach at Colorado State, which I believe is a powerhouse football school, right? Colorado State.
Well, they had like a terrible record this season.
They were 1-9.
One game, 1-9, something crazy, yeah.
Okay,
but they should be. I mean, it's Colorado, so
yeah, it's a good school. Now, here's an interesting fact.
They smoke good out there, though.
Oh yeah. Okay, I've never been out there.
Yeah, they got some good green out there.
Okay. So at Jackson State, Dion was making $300,000 per year, if my research is correct. And this job, this role now as head coach at Colorado State, he's getting paid $5 million per year.
Yeah, $5 million per year for 6 years.
For 6 years. And the question is, can somebody who came to a HBCU and brought all this attention and resources now leave and go to another school, be considered a sellout for doing so? Now, also from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he has 3 children that were also at Jackson State, or at least 2. And he's taken those children with him, 2 of them, I know for sure. His son, which I think is a quarterback, and his daughter, who I believe plays volleyball. He's taking them with him as well to Colorado State. I believe he's leaving one of his children. I might have that part wrong. But anyway, taking his kids out as well. They're leaving Jackson State and going with them to Colorado State. Does that make him a sellout in any way? Does it make him a sellout? That's what we're here to discuss.
Before I hear you all's opinion in response, as a member of the SWAC, who ain't SWAC? I'm SWAC. And a fan of Deion Primetime Sanders. Emphatically no. He's not a sellout. Emphatically no.
Right.
Emphatically. No. And I'm gonna let it rest there and turn it over to y'all.
Well, I want to hear.
Okay, I'll say I'll pick up where you left. Deion Sanders, one of my favorite athletes of all time. One of my definitely, in my opinion, the best football player that's ever done it. To say Deion is a sellout, in my opinion, is just, it's selfish of us. It's neglective to one of our cultural heroes. And just to be honest, it's wrong, and especially with the fashion that we're doing it in. You know, there's nothing that needs to be explained from Deion. There's nothing that he can say to readjust the conversation. They just hate what he's doing, and they hate it because he left the HBCU to move on and go to a powerhouse school. One thing that bothers me is because people are not really doing their research on what the man has done for Jackson. You know, for one example, he had donated half his salary to kind of refurbish the football facility, which needed it. There was a couple of, and I'm not going to get into specifics because I have to find it, but maybe I'll find it at the end of the before the podcast is over. He created a couple contracts, a couple of marketing contracts for Jackson State that are 10 years. They don't expire for another 10 years. So even though he's gone, those contracts still exist, and that's beneficial for the SWAC. He's the only guy that has also not only lifted up HBCUs from a football aspect, but he also told us what his plans were at the beginning. And that's the biggest thing that people are not like getting with this. He was on another podcast. Shout out to I Am Athlete. He was on another podcast about 3 years ago. And they asked him they had this big conversation about HBCUs versus powerhouse schools, how obviously they're not getting enough recognition for just marketing purposes and just outlets to bring in more revenue. They were talking about that, and then he also said he's willing to entertain anything from the coaching level, because in this, when you're in that coaching seat, you're either going to advance or you're going to fail, or you're going to get fired or dismissed. There's no room to be stagnant at the coaching level. So when you get a promotion, and if that scenario that I was talking about, as far as like what a sellout is, damaging your culture, he's not doing that whatsoever, because he still can uplift and do what he needs to do to keep the culture up over there. But advancement is needed. This is what I'm saying. Advancement is needed. Promotions are needed, because now you got us sitting in certain rooms now. We got us sitting in certain rooms, which means we can make change. We can alter things a little bit better. But it's what he does when he's there. Like, you can't call him a sellout because he left. You got to see what he does. Now, if he does things that's damaging the culture while he's there and just completely turning his back on us, then that's one thing. But it's way too early to call Deion Sanders a sellout because he took a $5 million promotion over the school he was currently at. This is just business, guys. So, no, I don't feel he's a sellout.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all hear what Big Mel just said? Now that is, hey man,
eloquently stated, brother.
Business, man.
This brother is coming to you with researched information and broad perspectives, right? You know, he's not just telling you his opinion; he's telling you what the facts are about the situation.
Damn.
Now, I went on social media the other day; they are talking super crazy in those comments. Not everybody.
Man, it's crazy.
I'm like, wow, that's deep.
Yeah, I couldn't even entertain the naysayers. I could give them no energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and Mel
said,
you said everything that I couldn't put words to in a way that I couldn't put words to it. So, E-Money, how you gonna follow that up? What's your thoughts, E-Money?
Man, I mean, again, I agree 1,000%. And you know what? That fact that he went in his own pocket.
Oh man,
to do that renovation, I mean, that's the opposite of a sellout, man. He's building up the culture, the contract that you referenced. These are things that are going to be in place once the man is no longer physically present. And even in his transition, he's still bringing attention to Jackson State.
Even in this transition.
And still.
Even in his transition.
Yes, sir. So, no, that is the opposite of a sellout. And that's the thing I like about your comment. It's like, we got to really, like you said, we have to be careful about how we talk about people in our culture that have a history of being about the culture. Is very, not only is it disrespectful, it is irresponsible. And I know a lot of these young
It's very irresponsible. That's a great word.
A lot of these young people, they don't even know about this man's history. They're just looking at this one situation. They're looking at a clip that got cut. And boom, he's leaving, and they cut it and slice it and dice it and make him look crazy. But once you analyze the situation, there's no way that you could walk away and say this man is a culture vulture, he's a sellout, or any of those things. Matter of fact, the people to me that are saying these things, and we try not to be judgmental on the show, but I got to say this. If you out there saying that Deion Sanders is a sellout, I believe you're a sellout.
Dang. That's your definition of a sellout too. Like,
it's damaging. Is it not damaging to the culture?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're damaging the culture, man.
Damaging it and doing it publicly, right? So I understand if you had a private opinion and you sharing it with your friends and family, but y'all out here doing this stuff online, and that's a sellout to me.
Yeah,
that's a sellout, because do other cultures really do that like that? So we have a disagreement and they go in the public and talk crazy about these people? Not really. So
I'm reminded. Go ahead, Mel. Please.
Go ahead,
go ahead, Mel. Go ahead.
So,
go ahead.
And here's another thing, right? Let's just say a lot of the luxuries that, unfortunately, a lot of the luxuries that other cultures have in this country, we don't have. So we can ill afford to damage each other because we're selfishly looking at a situation that we didn't appreciate from the person. Now, it was one thing you brought up, Iman, that was dope when you said that you got the millennials, the zennials. Social media is everything to this new generation. So when somebody puts out that false narrative about them, 9 times out of 10, people are not doing research after they read that feed. They looking at that feed, and my daughter do it. And I tell her all the time, look, you got to research this before you just spew it out.
Tell my son that every day.
Because you sound ignorant. And this is what damaging the culture is. Like, you put these false narratives out about Deion Sanders. Nobody's researching it. Nobody knows what he's donated. Nobody knows how he held the HBCU accountable for delegating the money improperly. That's something else to talk about as well. Nobody knows what this man is and means to the culture because they wasn't there at that time. So now you're looking at these false narratives and you just basically making your decision on false news. And that's definitely damaging the culture.
Absolutely. I talked to my son. I'm glad you brought that up. Love my son to death, 14 years old, but he is guilty of what you said to your daughter. It's like, yo, I tell him every day.
What is it about that year, E?
Gotta be careful, man. I tell him every day. He's still doing it, but I'm trying to break him out.
Oh my God.
Ron,
I am reminded of this one fact. Deion has always been about football. This is about
facts.
Football.
This is business.
Like, very good point.
This is about football, and I believe all three of us know, as a former NFL player of his caliber, what do you think his number one goal would be after retiring from football?
Be a coach.
He's on the journey right now. So what's his ultimate goal?
Head coach.
Head coach in the NFL.
So
owning the team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Winning the championship as an owner, head coach in the NFL. He's not done.
Yeah.
He'll leave Colorado if he gets a shot.
Yeah.
What? He already has told us he is entertaining every offer he receives. Now, the one thing he did say, Stu, is he didn't have any interest in the NFL because he felt like grown men don't like to listen, especially when they're getting paid more than you. So he stated that, but look at it like this. If somebody is willing to pay Deion Sanders $5 million more a year to refurbish a team that was terrible, 1-9 last year, it's bigger than it's big. I mean, obviously the Flash is coming over, so you're gonna get more mass appeal, but it's bigger than this man is good as what he's doing. Absolutely. He was good at Jackson State. Absolutely. He did his thing. He did his thing over there. So that's what we're not looking at either. You just want to induct this man into being this activist that he never signed up to be. But at the same time, it doesn't mean his activism has to get slighted because he's not there anymore. Like, he shined a heavy light on HBCUs right now. And it takes more than Deion. I want to see some of these other these other retired players, which he was also an advocate for as well. He called out players that are retired to come coach at the HBCU level. Come coach at the HBCUs.
Yes, he did.
These are things that you don't even realize he's doing because you just go into him, I'm leaving. And it doesn't even mean that, guys. This is an advancement for the brother. There's no NFL owners in the NFL, no majority NFL owners that are black. What if that's a move for him as well? Mm-hmm. Is that not uplifting the culture?
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, Deion's one of them guys, man, and I got his back with this one for sure.
You and me both, man. And you know what? It's Yeah, I'm just glad we're having this conversation. It's much needed. It reminds me of when Jay-Z started doing business with the NFL. Similar conversations.
Yeah.
Similar conversations. Sure. And I want to point this out for the younger audience or those who have an opinion that's not researched. Sometimes you have these guys who go into situations so that they can make change. I know that could be an excuse, but sometimes people will say, you know what, let me go to this corporation or this situation. I'm going to make some changes to bring up. You think he's not going to bring in some other black men to come to Colorado with him? You think he's not going to? He's already done it.
He
already did it.
Come on,
he did it.
You know what I mean?
Did Colorado have any black coaches
or the
Deion?
student body? The student body I think is one of the lowest percentages of African American kids in attendance. So and people are knocking him for that. Like, what do you think he's trying to run away from black people, or do you think he's trying to use that as a mechanism to increase the black student body over there?
That's right.
We're not digging deep, man. We just on the surface with it.
Absolutely. If you're just turning in, you're rocking with the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. This is episode 41. Are you a sellout? Big Mel is killing it.
Yeah.
You hear me, Big Stu? Big Mel is killing it. If you get a chance, check
y'all
out
doing y'all thing, man. Y'all motivating me.
No doubt. It's a lovely conversation. So let's get a little bit deeper here. I got a couple of examples of people who also were called a sellout. We're going to compare and contrast. The first one on the list, remember MC Hammer. Is MC Hammer a sellout? Hammer.
Are we talking? Oh, you want me to take this one?
Please.
Is MC Hammer a sellout? So I remember when MC Hammer was doing his thing. He was huge. You could say what you want about MC Hammer, but he was a heavy part of the culture during his time. When making songs like "Can't Touch This," "Turn This Mother Out," "Pray." I looked at MC Hammer. Was making all this. He was making a lot of money, taking care of people, maybe overly doing it, taking care of his people. I felt like Hammer fell into something though. Hammer fell into, he's making all this money, right? He fell into feeling the need that, okay, maybe he's not accepted by the culture enough. So now you want to start making songs like Pumps in the Bump and all these. He changed his whole dynamic. I believe he got up with Suge Knight. Yeah. So he changed his whole dynamic to create the damaging music we was talking about.
Great point.
Right? We was just talking about that.
I don't have the facts. I wasn't there, but I don't think that was voluntary. To get with Suge. I don't think that was up to Hammer.
So, one would say Suge kind of helped convince him to start making songs of that nature. But that would be the only recourse I would even come close to calling Hammer a sellout. Some people would like to call him a sellout even before that move, like with the big pants and him dancing around and shucking and jiving, some people may say, but Hammer was a part of this culture. That is a part of our culture, man. We dance, we celebrate, and we the best to do things like that. And he was the best to do something like that back in his time. So I wouldn't call Hammer a sellout. That situation, like later on, was a little sketchy, but like Stu said, like maybe he was coerced a little bit into that situation.
Yeah.
Good, man.
Right. He had the Speedos on and everything.
Yeah, that was tough. Man. That was tough. Stu, what do you think?
That was tough, bro. That was tough.
Was Hammer a sellout? At first I thought Hammer was a sellout. I thought he was selling out the culture. Thought he was selling out hip hop. coming with this dance stuff and these baggy pants. I was like, that ain't what we was doing. But you know, but I have to give an answer today. Was Hammer a sellout? No, because he didn't run from the culture. He didn't run from the. He was doing the best he could do for himself, and he paid a lot of people. He paid a lot of other black folks got on, man, and
it's what initially put him off because he was trying to take care of too many black people.
Yeah,
without understanding the realm to do it in.
And that brought in dancing, made dancing in hip hop more acceptable.
Yes.
So it advanced the culture in a way. He advanced the culture.
That's what we do. We dance. Whether you want to, I don't care how hard you want to look. Yeah. Everybody got a little bit, everybody that's part of our culture got some rhythm in them. And then if they don't and we see it, we clown them. Like, them out. They can't dance at all, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Hammer, in my opinion, is not a sellout. So nah.
Okay.
Not a sellout.
I like those takes. I got another person. What about Flavor Flav? Flavor Flav. Now, if you're young, you don't know this, but before Flavor of Love, Flavor Flav was part of part of a revolutionary group called Public Enemy. Strong. The messaging was pro-black, but then he did the reality series. Was he a sellout?
Oh man, no, not a sellout. Not a sellout. Not a sellout. To me, a bit of a. I don't even want to call my man a coon because I don't like that term.
Yeah,
that's not a term that we really use, but we do use it. But nah, he ain't a sellout. He ain't a sellout.
So it sounds like we're saying, and Big Mel, correct me if I'm wrong, that sometimes a person can lose their way, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're a sellout. You can lose your way, like Hammer did.
You know, one of the things that, for sure. Flav was, for eons since they done came out, Flav been clowned for just his appearance. Let's keep it real, like, you know what I mean. From us more so than anybody else, probably. Like, look at this ugly motherfucker. You know what I mean? Just we used that, and I felt like that Flavor of Love thing was him showing us, like, all right, y'all think I'm finna have some of the baddest women in here, and I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna parade them around and show y'all what it is. So you could call me whatever you want, but you can't call me lacking on that side. But it is one thing that
and I think
go ahead.
It's
one thing that
no, please,
Professor Griff was talking. I don't know if y'all kind of listen to that brother from time to time, but he's a very knowledgeable brother as well. Okay. And he was telling a brief story about like the plans that him and Public Enemy had when they get into the industry. They're supposed to do this, and this, and then get out of there. You know, and Professor Griff said he was still, kind of down to do that. But Flav and Chuck D had different plans, and that was like kind of so I don't know if Griff was trying to call them sellouts, but he was saying that this wasn't the plan, guys, and y'all know it wasn't the plan. So that he also talked on that too. That's something you should check out as well. But just from him doing like Flavor of Love and stuff like that, now I ain't gonna call Flavor sellout.
Okay, all right.
And I think part of what it is like you can be a clown, but not be a sellout. Like you know what I mean? Like I might not rock with you. But it may not. Sellout is it's huge. It's big, bro. Like you it's hard to even come back from being a sellout, dog.
Yeah. It's consciously doing damage to us.
Well, I'm not gonna say I disagree with you all, but I want to play devil's advocate real quick. Some people feel like the way that Flavor was portraying himself on those shows was pushing the culture back. So to our definition, I don't necessarily view him as a sellout, but I was disappointed to see him doing that because I felt like it was different than what he came in the game with.
I felt like Flavor, like we all got an uncle like Flav. or a cousin. Like we all got that cousin or that uncle.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, damn, he come. But the barbecue wouldn't be the same without him.
Facts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
pushing the culture back. That may be another conversation in regards to, because when you had these shows like not just Flavor of Love, but Love and Hip Hop, Housewives,
definitely.
Those are culture damages as well. They're very entertaining, but these are, here's the gas, like these are so-called reality shows. So it's looked upon as like, this is how these people act regularly because this is reality. This ain't scripted, when it's just the opposite. They're very much so scripted, right? And you will get removed from that show if you don't cause these scenes and this toxic behavior on these cameras. Like, you will get out of here. So his show was one of those shows as well, I feel like. But again, that's Viacom at its finest. VH1, MTV, BET, Viacom on all these shows, and that's what they do best. Depict us in a light that's gonna sell and that's gonna make us look like toxic individuals that are not on anything but making money by dancing, showing ass, talking, getting into all these crimes and things of that nature. So yeah, that's Viacom at its finest, man. I don't know if I could blame Flav for that. He just the drunk. He just the uncle at the barbecue.
Okay, I can respect that. I got another one. Jay-Z. How about Jay-Z? Was he a sellout for what happened with Dame Dash?
Woo.
Now, Dame Dash has been clear about
I could definitely answer this real quick.
Dame Dash has been clear about whether he thinks Jay-Z is a sellout. I don't think there's any question on that. But do we think he's one? Is Jay-Z
of course.
Damn. Wow.
You want me to go, Stu, or you want to take it?
Go, man.
Hell no. A big hell no. Let me explain something about Dame Dash, right? Dame is one of the smart. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I feel like he is the upper echelon of it. Like Dame's ideas and him like saying, I'm gonna do this myself and we're gonna make this happen. And there may not be Jay in this capacity if it wasn't for Dame, because they was a beautiful team, right? The problem with Dame, I feel like he just was, there was no bending or budging with him. It's almost like fighting with a grown person that's throwing tantrums, that's not trying to hear you say anything. There's no dialogue when he feel like he's right. There's no dialogue with him. It's like, nah, bro, nah. And I feel like Jay got tired of that, right? Jay got tired of him corrupting certain relationships in business. And it wasn't just with, white execs, it was black execs as well that Dame was kind of, creating this toxic relationship thing for him. And Jay talked to him, but coming from Jay, obviously, he talked to him and said, listen, man, you burning bridges, and I'm trying to keep them. I'm trying to keep them. You never know when you got to walk back over him. And Dame was like, man, F everybody, we doing this thing all by ourselves, blah, 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 blah. And Jay they just didn't have the same mental space when it came to business and work ethic, I think. So it was bound to happen anyway. So I definitely don't think Jay is a sellout for, leaving people behind and doing what he did, because he's still working for the culture. Like, he's doing a lot of things behind the scene that's working for the culture.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I'm not gonna speak on that one, right? Because for obvious reasons, right? I'm not gonna speak on it. I have questioned Jay's, and I don't know this guy.
Fact. And none of us
questioned I've questioned that relationship with Goodell and the NFL. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that relationship and why get in bed with them when they had proven they were not for us. as a culture. Like the NFL still to me didn't seem like they were really for black people, right? African American culture. But I'll tell you another person who I could easily put in here with Jay-Z is Michael Jordan.
No,
A sellout. Because I mean, I know that Jay paid for some people to go to college. I know what, he doesn't have any problem saying black entrepreneurs. I know that he will
in jail reform as well.
Yeah.
Dude, hold on. I got to make this point real quick. I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but I got to say this because it's important. Is a person, if they're not for the culture, are they a sellout? We know that when you're trying to hurt the culture is set out, but what if they're just in the middle? They're not for it or against it. They're just because that's where I feel like Michael Jordan was.
And I think this is where the conversation is at the apex right now. This is the apex of the conversation because that's a great question.
Yeah.
Can you be silent? Can you be silent in this? Can you not be actively for your culture let's just talk about us, black men. As a black man, can you not be for the upliftment of our culture as black men? Can you sit on the sidelines? Like, you're not going to catch me on the picket lines. You're not going to see me out holding picket signs.
Right.
I do my activism in the classroom.
Different forms of activism.
Right?
Absolutely.
But I'm not quiet about it. To your point, E, can you be quiet about it? I don't think you can. I don't know if I'm necessarily married to this, but because I come here with an open mind to learn new perspectives as well.
Facts.
So I don't think that we can afford to be silent on the sideline and not take a position. You either for us or you against us. Is my take. I'm interested to hear from you all because I would put Jay and Mike, and I love Mike. I love Jay, but money. It's like it seemed like don't get in the way of their money. Don't get in the way of their money. Don't get in the way of their money.
So I would. The one thing I'm gonna say is it goes back to when we was previously talking about how we could just ill afford to respond and do things a way like other cultures do in this country. We just don't have that luxury, unfortunately, because of the setbacks financially and being disenfranchised. So I do agree with you there, Stu. Like, yes, we cannot just sit on the sidelines. We do have to, when there's opportunity to seize, when there's opportunity to uplift and advancement, we definitely we have a part to play in this. Unfortunately, realistically speaking, before you're anything, you're a human being. And I know certain human beings are just not built for that. No matter what the scenario is, no matter what, some people just want to wake up in the morning and do them and take care of their family. And that's the end of it. And they want to detach themselves from all of that. So as much as we battle with accepting them, within this culture, some people just aren't built for activism whatsoever. Now, as far as Jay is concerned with the NFL, yeah, that was kind of sketchy too, right? Because the NFL does not, 69% of the players that push their revenue forward is African American, right? So there are certain things that I feel like need to change as far as their stance on Black issues. Jay, the one thing I do see with Jay being a part of this is that, again, here goes another infusement of hip hop. Like when you look at these games on Sunday now, Monday night games, playoff games, halftime, you be having some big wig hip hop artists getting down, and that's Jay. When I went to the Bears the opening season, like when Jay first got that job, they had this huge thing in Grant Park right before the Bears game actually took place. And I think Meek Mill performed.
I remember that.
And a couple more. That's Jay. You know what I mean? He kind of transformed that into cultural infused with football. You know what I mean? So there is certain aspects of him being a part of the NFL that I appreciate, but then there's other aspects that's always sketchy because you had these Roger Goodell's guy, and the NFL is a racist organization. I'll just put it out there, man. You know, because you can't tell me that you just can't find any black coaches. Like you sprinkle. We're 69. I'm not saying everybody that play football can coach, but you can't find none.
Somebody. Yeah.
You put this Rooney Rule out, and that's basically just that's not helping the cause. That's hurting it. So now you have to interview a black guy, and you already know like just Dallas did this when they hired McCarthy. They interviewed a couple black guys. McCarthy already had the job, man. Already had the job. Bill Belichick blew the whistle on them a while ago doing that, where they tried to interview a black coach, and they already offered the job to him via text message before the interview with the black coach. Had the salary and everything in there.
Yeah.
Switching over to MJ. I love MJ. Like, he number one with me, like on the basketball side.
Right.
MJ, his shoes alone does so much damage to our culture, man. Even though they're Jordans, they look great, they're beautiful. Man, I done came up in the era where motherfuckers get killed over them shoes, bro. And it's not just like a rarity. People are getting killed over them shoes. People cannot afford them shoes, man. They missing out on certain feats with their family because they need the Jordans. Right. Not one time have I heard anything about MJ trying to lower the prices on them shoes, or, you know, and he detached himself from Nike. He got his own thing now. This Mike, we still paying $300-400 for some shoes that he made in '91.
Right. Because
now they retros, and now they even worth more than back then.
Imagine what it's gonna be after his death. Let's land this one. Unless you want to say, I'm voting Jay-Z. I'm gonna go. Jay-Z is not a sellout.
Yeah,
he has done a lot for the culture. He's gotten a lot of people out of jail. You know, he's done a lot of reform. You know, he's got Monogram. You know, he's got his brand Monogram. You know, I love it. I love what he's done there. He didn't get caught up in the dope game, and he saved himself and cleaned himself up. I think that's a good move. I think that helps. I think that's probably his biggest contribution, is letting cats know that you can get out the game, or if you in the game, here's how you get out.
Yeah.
Get out quickly without getting caught up.
For sure.
You know, so I'm gonna go with not a sellout for Jay-Z, but it was a conversation. It wasn't easy peasy.
Yeah.
Facts.
What about Mike? For me, I've always been
Dude don't want to answer that one.
Yeah, and I didn't expect.
It's so hard to call Mike something negative, man.
I'm gonna say this about Jay-Z. I've always been more of a Dame Dash fan. Dame is certainly not perfect, but I just learned so much from Dame about life
for sure.
and how to be an entrepreneur. In Jay-Z, it was more about, I kind of tried. A lot of people on the East Coast emulated Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? He was like the dude that was doing his thing, but he was sophisticated about it. You know, so people would aspire to that. And I respect that to this day. But Dame actually gave me information that helped me in my daily life. And again, he is not perfect. Is Jay-Z a sellout? To me, I would like to know more information, right? Because I think Dame has a point about how it was done. Because like we said about Flav, everybody in their family got to do like Dame too, right? They're super arrogant and just, you know, you can't be doing too much and all that.
Yep.
His heart might be in the right place, but he just might be doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know on that one. MJ, I am going to say that I believe he's a sellout because I was a Dominique Wilkins fan.
First sellout of the day.
Nothing about it. I ain't care nothing about Michael Jordan.
Hey, that's the first sellout of the day, fellas. Oh no.
I had to do it. I'm sorry. Dominique Wilkins. Nah, but I don't know. I question Michael Jordan. I feel like he could have done more. I can't really sit here and say he was a sellout. I'll just say I wish he had done. Yeah, I just wish he had done a little bit more and been more vocal. But I know we got to wrap this episode up, but I got to point out a few things I think are recurring themes. You all have been clear about saying that it's really about harming the culture. It's not necessarily somebody doing things that we don't like. It's not necessarily somebody being a clown and all of this stuff. It's when you're intentionally trying to hurt and harm the culture, especially when it has to do with money, is what I feel like you are saying as a sellout, and I agree with that. And then we're also saying that there are people like Jay-Z who might go into a situation with an organization that's not for us in an attempt to make change down the road. So he got called a sellout on the front end, but now the face of the NFL is starting to look a little bit different every time a game comes on, as Mel pointed out. It's looking a little bit different. So who knows what he's doing behind the scenes to even change the corporate part of the NFL. And I guess he's got to be strong enough to deal with that scrutiny, right? He's this, he's that, but he knows what he's doing behind the scenes. And I especially want to say to these younger people, because you all both said this, everything that you do might not be public. So you might seem like a person that's not really doing anything, but behind the scenes, you are making significant moves to change and better the culture. And that's important for us to understand. We got to do our research and see what people really are about, not what they're doing on Instagram. They might not even be on Instagram. Does that mean they're a sellout because you don't know what they're doing? I would say it doesn't. You don't know. So something to think about. Something to think about. So this has been a very interesting conversation about being a sellout. I want to get you all's final thoughts before we wrap this one up. Big Mel, you are our special guest. Can you give us your final thoughts? Like, has this conversation changed your perspective at all? Is it pretty much the same? And just what are your takeaways?
I feel like I think we all were, in a sense, on the same page with defining what a sellout is to the culture and just in general. So it definitely enhanced my perspective. It didn't change it at all. Just listening to some of you brothers speak on it, and just before you judge and be quick to troll or damage somebody on these social media platforms, just really think and look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who's the real sellout?
Exactly. Beautiful.
Good point, man.
Who's the real sellout? Big Stu, what are your final thoughts, sir?
I'm actually quite speechless.
No, that's not true.
I'm quite speechless. Quite speechless,
that's
man. My final thoughts are, man, I'm being honest, man, and I hate that I'm even caught up. Like I'm speechless, man. I'm left with a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And I think the most important piece is, look at yourself. You took the words out of my mouth, really, because it's really not about me judging what anybody else does. I ain't patting nobody's pockets. I don't really care what you do. I mean, I do care, but that's not what you eat. Don't make me, you know what I'm saying, do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I have to be concerned about what I'm doing, right, and how I'm helping my people as best as I can. And that's really it. Like, hopefully I'm around people and we're helping other people to really think about how they are advancing the culture. And I think that's really what's key. Like, look at yourself and ask yourself, how are you advancing the culture, your culture, whatever culture you're in? And I don't want that to be taken out of context, right? Because that can spiral to a whole nother conversation. But are you adding value? That's what I mean when I say advancing. Are you adding value to your culture? And as Black folks, ask yourself, how are you adding value to your culture? You can't afford to not be actively, consciously adding value to the culture.
All right. Couldn't have said it better myself. I appreciate both of you all brothers' perspectives. Big Mel, can you let the people know where they can find you? And that's for your podcast. And I know you are also a music artist. Where can we find you?
Yeah, for sure, E. So yeah, I do currently have an album streaming right now. It's called Prosper. It's on every major streaming platform you could think of. The artist is Big Mel the Premise, BIGMELTHAPREMISE. The name of the album is Prosper. You can find me on any major streaming platforms with that. I also have a fan page called Big Mel, aka The Premise, on Facebook. You can reach my IG. My IG is Big Mel Music, at Big Mel Music. And the podcast, you can reach the podcast on YouTube. I have promotional clips on both of those sites I just provided to you, both on my Facebook and my IG and my TikTok. My TikTok is at Big Mel Music too. I gotta keep it focused with these millennials and zennials and all these other. So I'm on TikTok as well.
Okay.
You can grab every episode on my YouTube page. Just if you go on YouTube, you could look up 606 whatever, WHATEVA 606 whatever.
All right.
And then also on the business side, the cannabis side is Strange Fruit Premium, www.strangefruitpremium.com. We got our own website right now. You can get at me through that as well. We do have menu lists that we put out there, so just get at me. Shoot me a text. All that information is on the website. Shoot me a text, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good. And I definitely would like to get you back on to talk about that business specifically. That's a whole episode, but we'd love to have you back. But salute to you for coming on, man. You were a true professional. Thank you for adding value to the culture yourself today. We'll see you soon, man.
Thank you for having me, y'all. I'm going to holler at you, black men. Keep doing what y'all doing. Stu, you already know I'm a steward of you, baby. I follow you, man. So we always vibe and converse. E-Money, it's been great meeting you too, brother.
Likewise.
So you gotta come now, y'all. You gotta come do mine. Stu came to do the podcast. I need you to come. I want to have both of y'all on at the same time.
All right, let's do it.
I knew that you would add value to this episode. I didn't realize you were going to add this much value. You shut it down.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Stu. You know, I always appreciate you, man. I try to impress you as much as I can, bro.
Oh, stop it. Stop
it. We brothers, man. Like, you know, as much as I respect and love my brothers, man, I gotta get on your level. So,
wow,
you know,
look at that.
I just appreciate y'all, brothers, man. Definitely, I come back anytime, but y'all definitely have to come on mine and do my podcast as well, brother. Salute to y'all.
Salute.
Peace, brother.
We love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Peace.
What a great episode, man. What a great episode. Are you a sellout? Betty
this young lady, you might know this young lady.
I do, and I appreciate this comment. She said, Betty, my wife, said this episode added value to the culture.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that, wifey. Really
absolutely.
Yeah, it added some value, man. It definitely, I got some things to think about too. So yeah, it was good. All right, so I know we got a couple more things to run through.
Yeah, let's go.
We got characters from corporate, and then we're gonna wrap up with a pool artist. So
let's do it. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So characters from corporate, if you're new to the show, it's where we give feedback to somebody who's in corporate. Me and Stu have had our years in corporate, so we try to add some value. Person wants to know, are they a character? Like, are they tripping? Or, you know, is their perspective a little bit flawed? So this week it's, hi, I'm a black male Gen Xer living in Paris, France. All right, Paris. I'm originally from Chicago, but working at a well-known global bank. I love the show, guys. My question is, I'm a black American in a country that doesn't really like the U.S. like that. I do speak French, which helps, but you can imagine the types of slick comments that get thrown around. I don't let any slick comment slide, and I address everything in real time. Like one time, my coworker told me to go back to the hood and play basketball.
Damn.
We got face to face. Am I a character for reacting to every little thing they are saying? Wow. Black American in France, a male, they're talking slick. The French don't necessarily, I've seen it. They don't really care for the U.S. like that. Some people are cool with it. There's an issue there. And he's addressing comments in real time as they're being said. Is he a character for that? And he's from the shop. So, is he a character for doing something that he probably would do even if he was in the U.S.?
No, but I wonder, like, when you noted, I mean, like, man, like, what's going to happen? Like, what, you're going to keep walking? You're going to keep frustrating yourself? I don't think you're a character for responding, but I think you might be a character if you're going to keep aggravating yourself. You got to figure out how you're going to not aggravate yourself and get yourself aggravated by these situations. It's important that you let them know. I heard somebody say, you keep letting stuff slide, they're going to think you're a playground, so
yeah,
you got to figure out how you not get yourself wrapped up in such a tizzy, man. I don't know that I would be able to do it myself. I'm not just going to keep letting you talk. I probably wouldn't have a job. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, I haven't developed that level of, it depends on what's happening. I mean, you just keep throwing stuff. Like, come on, man. I probably don't want to be here. So you got to make a decision. You're not a character for responding, but you're a character you might be a character for letting it bother you so much if you're not going to change the situation. Okay. I don't know, man. Yeah. What do you think, E?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I'll just say this. Sometimes the way we carry ourselves can open the door to certain things, and it doesn't mean it's your fault. But I would ask you, Mr. Paris, to kind of look at how are you conducting yourself. If somebody's saying you need to go back to the hood and play basketball, there's nothing that's your fault in that. But I will say generally, how are you conducting yourself at work? Why do these people feel like they can come to you and talk crazy like that? Like, I'll give you an example. I've had people come to me saying these types of comments, but when I looked deeper, come to find out they were laughing and joking and trading insults with people in a joking manner. But then they want to get mad when somebody goes too far with it. Sometimes you can't do that kind of stuff at work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're doing that kind of stuff, but I would say check yourself first. Get some feedback from somebody you trust about how are you carrying yourself in this office. And see, is there anything that you can control? And then if not, then, you have a decision to make.
Yeah, I think there's some cultures who are not going to let nothing slide, period. You can't get away with no side jokes if at any point. They have organizations to support that. They may call it some sort of hate, a hate crime, or you know what I mean? They have. So I don't think he's a character for responding in real time. I don't think you're a character at all. I think it's important that you let them know that, there's certain stuff you're not going to be able to get away with just saying to me. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave it at that part. No, I don't think you're a character for responding in real time.
Okay.
The other stuff, I think you need to listen to E, check out E. And if you want some consultation on it, hit him up.
Yeah, you might have to go to my wife for that, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at this. You could be a character because I don't know what else you're doing. So check yourself, see what else you're doing. You might be a character, but maybe not. I hope you're not.
Thanks for checking in, though.
Yeah, thank you for checking in. In Paris, man, France, y'all really checking into the show. I hope y'all continue to do that, and maybe we can do a live episode in Paris one season.
Yeah.
Would you be up for that?
I absolutely would be up for that all day.
All right, cool. All right, so let's close out, Stu. Do we have a artist for today?
We do. I was going to switch up, and I was going to do a Big Mel song, but I already put it, you can catch his album. Y'all see where y'all can see his album. We're going to go with Gino Pacino today. Gino literally just dropped some brand new heat. He just dropped some brand new heat, and I know you're a Gino Pacino fan.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
This one right here, I'm not gonna even waste any time with it. UFHO, Gino Pacino.
Yeah, we over here building a legacy. Yeah, just getting started though. Listen, and I be running it up, and I be running it up, and I be running it up. Y'all niggas ain't fucking with us, and I be running it up, and I be running it up, and I be running it up. Y'all niggas ain't fucking with us. Riding in that spaceship, the flow so amazing. They don't wanna see us getting money, so let's. And I be running it up, and I be running it up, and I be running it up. Y'all niggas ain't fucking with us. Champagne poppy mixed with John Gotti. Hint of Sean Carter, ain't nobody hotter than Pacino. She see me and she go crazy. I'm just throwing dick to her. I don't need your lady. Winning, getting money, let's do it. Only came for the bag and the influence. Money maker phenomenal. I gotta go topple that sofa like domino. A dominant factor in this rap shit. You getting your ass kicked 808s through back. This world spinning on axis. Holding your chest, put you niggas to rest. You better recognize me as one of the best. And I be running it up, and I be running it up. Y'all niggas ain't fucking with us, and I be running it up.
Y'all gonna have to catch the rest of that on Pool. But if you like it, go catch it on poolofmusic.com. Check it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great show. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you all very soon again next week. Until then, peace.
Peace.